Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover Life Between Lives wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute. Welcome to Discover Life Between Lives Wisdom podcast. Today's guest is not only a past life regression specialist, but she has a strong personal interest in shamanism, and she combines regression and shamanic practices in her regression therapy. Tulin Etyemez Schimberg is from Turkey, where she has her own school, the Unicorn Transformation Studies, where she mainly teaches regression therapy, ancestor healing, shamanic practices, and women's studies. Tulin is board certified with IBRT as a level 4 past life regression specialty. She's one of the founding members of the Earth Association for Regression Therapy, where she has served on the board for 7 years. And now she's on the program committee organizing the annual conventions of Earth every year. Her personal interest in shamanism led her to be trained by Leo Ruthford, Juanita Puttyfoot, and Mark Wentworth, and she found herself having a lot of personal experiences from her journeys. Inspired by Sandra Ingerman, she started to give lectures on shamanism in India and Turkey. Today, she's the president and a board member of BI Foundation and also of the Metaphysical Investigations and Scientific Research Society in Turkey. Tulin believes that by healing the past, we heal the present moment and the future. And I couldn't agree more. Please enjoy this 3-part episode with the incredible Tulin Etyemez Schimberg.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Vibecke. And we are back once again with this beautiful series. And we have today a very, very, very special guest. She's so special because she's not only a trusted, respected colleague, a very beloved friend, and my teacher who I have explored the world of shamanism with. She's a shaman. She teaches us. And we have hours and hours of very fascinating experiences with her. We bring to you Tulin. Tulin, welcome to our Michael Newton Institute's Wisdom Series podcast that we love to bring to people. We love to share the awareness, the learning, the experiences that all of you wonderful people have.
Thank you
so
very
a very
much.
warm welcome.
I'm really honored to be invited to share. As you mentioned, I love sharing and I love together witnessing experiences, because when we are in the work, the experience is getting deeper and deeper. So you mentioned me as shaman, but I'm not a shaman, but I'm a shamanic practitioner. Or in India, they ask me, what are you? If you are not a shaman or if you are not a guru, what you are? Then I said, I'm a seeker. So I'm seeking for the wisdom, I'm seeking for myself, and I'm seeking the way. So whatever I find useful, then I like to share. So I'm here to tell you how I also combine shamanic work with my profession, because I'm a regression therapist and I'm a trainer. So I have been in regression work for 17 years now, and more than 11 years now I'm together with the shamanic work, combining and experiencing and still discovering, walking the path, and it's the journey. So it's the journey of souls, as the Michael Newton Institute.
Yes,
Actually,
so true.
in Turkey, we published 2 books of Michael Newton, Destiny of Souls and Soul's Journey. So I'm
Wonderful.
also honored twice that in the past we were the publisher of those books and still in Turkey and spreading that important wisdom. Because I give quite a lot of importance to Michael Newton work as well, and combining with regression therapy. Of course, it's a really a specific area, but it's very important area. So and I'm very honored to be interview and sharing the knowledge.
We are so grateful, Tulin, that you're here with us. And this actually, brings one of the most important questions that I wanted to start our session with. In the world of shamanic journey, in the world of shamanism, how would you, for our viewers who may be quite not so clued in, how would you define the world of shamanic work or shamanic journey? When we use the word journeying by itself, a lot of people question what is it that they're talking about. Can you elaborate, please?
Yes. So I didn't know in the past what was about it until I was reading the book of Sandra Ingerman. She had a booklet, and it was a hand guide for the shamanic work. So it was using the drum. So here is my drum.
Remember this? Remember this?
I saw in every culture, whenever you go, if you go to the South America, Africa, the Siberia, Anatolia, in the Aborigines, in Africans, in the Middle Asia, drum is very important. Since I was educated as engineer, I was always curious what is the mechanism behind. When you drum, when you beat 230 beat in 1 minute, it puts the brain to the alpha state. It is kind of the state we use in the regression sessions, because when we are now open our eyes, our attention is at outside, but whenever we close our eyes, the focus attention turns to inside. So the drum is helping us to have that dream state, which we use for the regression therapy, which we use for the life between lives practices as well, to have a kind of a trance state. And it makes it easier because the brain starts the visualization, so the images gets more clearer. So when I was discovering actually my own culture, because we say Turks are used to be shamans, not anymore, but we are coming from the Middle Asia and we were in shamans. So I was searching, and I tried that experience from the Sandra Ingersman book. Then she mentioned that intention is very important, and the guidance is coming from yourself to yourself. So there is nobody is channeling the information to you. Its information is not coming from the outside. Its formation is coming from the inside. But when I was deeping into the knowledge, and I figured out actually it is not a belief, it's not a religion, it is a way of living life. And so you see in Maya cultures, in the Aztec cultures, Mexican shamans, American Indians. And so when I was searching, the knowledge was actually quite common. Sometimes names were changing. Actually, shamans, they don't name themselves shamans, and it's coming from the Siberia, from the Tungus. Anthropologists, they name them shaman later on. Actually, in Middle Asia, they say, for example, come. So that means the person who connects material world with the spiritual world. And it was written in one book that drum is the horse of the shaman. So the shaman is, in the past, in the ancient cultures, in the tribes, the shaman was responsible from the wholeness and healing of the whole tribe, all the wellness of the tribe. And how they were doing that, because I was reading more books and dipping into the more and more and deeper, then I figured out actually shaman was preparing himself or herself. So the shaman could be a woman or could be a man. And so they were preparing themselves with rituals for those transitates. And in many cultures, actually, shaman was the helper for the deceased person when they were dead. Shaman was taking that person with the death process and helping at the other side. So from that perspective, we understand that not every person is also kind of having an easy passage. And it was the role of the shaman, the duty of the shaman to help that person to resolve the conflicts also after the life. And so then, oh my God, the shamans, whenever the hunters, they had to go to one direction, where is the food? There was no telephones or no satellites, no Google Maps to see where are the bisons. So the shaman was kind of putting the focus, searching about where are the animals for hunting. So he was or she was contacting with the soul of the animals, or which plant is useful for which illness. So they also was using special connection way to ask to the plant, what is it for? So then the information was always there. So information is actually coming from the nature. So, and it was very connected together with the whole group. In the past, we were living as tribes. Nowadays, we are living in the beton buildings and we are so much separated from the nature. So when you are in the nature, then you have to know the language of the nature. You don't have telephone apps to inform you the storm. So when the storm is coming, then the shaman had to prepare the tribe and warnings, or for the wars or the fights, or preparing, or when there was kind of illnesses. In the shamanic perspective, in the illness was, if there is an illness, that means for the shamans there is a soul part is missing. So the shaman's role was making the journey to find that soul part back and bringing to the person, and making the rituals and blowing back that soul part to the person back, to get the healing, the wholeness again. So from those perspectives, whenever I learn more, then I saw so much similarities, what we do in the regression work, what we do in the life between life work. That's why I was also searching the ways how I can combine. So then I learned, power animals. I learned it first from the Roger Woolger, actually, long time ago. I'm not sure you met with him when he's alive. He was a great therapist. He was a Jungian therapist and psychologist. And he did a lot of examinations and a lot of research about Buddhism and etc. So he was using the shamanic items in the deep memory process work. So I was trained by Roger Woolger and Juanito Pudifut. Then I saw that actually Roger also using quite a lot of shamanic perspectives in the regression sessions. For example, one of very deep observation I got from him was in a rape session. So the client was working a rape scene from a past life. But during that past life, the memory was very deep, trauma was very deep. So Roger was inviting power animals to get the person more powerful, more strength to fight back, because she couldn't fight back, and it was a kind of multiple rape, and it was a kind of old war memory. So she was stuck. She was very powerless, not moving, because the split of energy was too much. She didn't want to be in that body. Even she projected the consciousness to the space. So to bring that power back, Roger was using power animals, and he was saying that if a powerful animal could help you, what it would be. Then I saw that the lady actually chose a bird, an eagle. So I was kind of, but then Roger was not satisfied, and he said, bring more a powerful, more stronger animal, and a bear and a tiger appear. Then the strength was right there. And then we had a kind of shift in the energy, completely changed. I was kind of, at that time, I was thinking, oh, this is a kind of archetypal figures. But whenever the energy shift was there, then I figured out it is really something powerful. So then moving back, fighting back to get receiving the energy back. That's why there is for example, a term in the shamanic word, soul retrieval. That means then you need to retrieve your soul part back. And as the regression therapist knows, we can have that fragmentation in different situations, like accidents, disease of a loved ones, separations, divorces,
Any kind of grief can
illnesses,
create it. Yes.
like long-term illnesses, and so some life crisis, and so those always create in the consciousness some energy fragmentation. So soul retrieval is really overlapping with the map of regression therapy as well. Then in the past, the shaman was doing that retrieval and bringing the soul back. But now when you look at the revolution of the humanity, there is a now we are not at the survival level anymore, and we pass through so many processes. So at the level where we are now, it is own responsibility to bring that soul part back. That's why there are not healers doing that job for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And since I'm an engineer and I'm also studying sociology and psychology, then I was really searching what does it mean, because I figured out when somebody is doing that, it doesn't make so much change in your brain. But if you have that experience yourself, if you go there and see it and resolve it, and if you give also kind of body releasement, if you do emotional work in a thought level, body level, mental level, and spiritual level, then the brain also creates different pathways, different neurological connections. So that's also helps the change for us and for the person, and also for the regression therapist or LBL specialist to accompanying to the client, because we are in the energy field, and that energy field or those magnetic field interferences also affecting each other, not only the client, but we, as a therapist,
True.
because we are part of the work, we are also healing ourselves, and each session also helping us also discoveries it at different
That's true.
levels.
That's true.
So
Tulin, when you're saying this, I'm sorry I'm butting in. Roger's work that you mentioned, how at a time of your energies being depleted, the role of a power animal plays a very big role. So if I have your permission, I'll share an experience. This January, I had COVID and a pretty intense attack, and I tested positive back to back twice. And it all happened at a time when we've also had a death of a loved one. So it happened literally together. So there's this whole thing of the physical illness, and then you also have the grief and the continuation of that whole thing that you're in isolation. You aren't able to attend any of the funeral or the prayer meeting or anything because you're doing the entire thing alone because you're quarantined. And I remember I had such high fever that I was having hallucinations. Now, I believe in my hallucination, somehow I was able to channel in and kept feeling the presence of one of my power animals, which happened to be a jaguar. Now, I've
very
never come
powerful.
across a jaguar before. This is the first time he appeared for me. And I have very clear, vivid understanding that I was in a fetal position, and it's as if it was holding me. So I was drawing strength all along from the back of my head, all along my spinal column. It's as if I was pulling in energy into my body from his body to be able to grow stronger, emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And while you were sharing this experience of how you bring back your soul fragments, I think all of us who are practitioners know that we've had multiple time clients who in past life regression or in exploring the afterlife or doing a soul journey session have been able to take the help of their power animals, sometimes encountering their power animal for the first time.
Yeah.
And that sheer wonder, because it wasn't something they were expecting and it just comes right there. And the beauty with which the significance of the energy, the kind of anchoring they do with that energy for coming times.
Yeah. And
So,
also it has, international meanings and powers. Like
yes.
it's universal,
Hmm.
but also it can be specific for person.
Personal, yes.
So, for example, when you look at eagle symbolism, eagle, it can fly very high. So instead of losing yourself in the details, you can get a kind of more higher perspective,
Yes.
clarity,
Mhm.
and eagle is the only animal can look at the sun 90 degree.
Hmm.
So sun represents the truth, and so eagle can help you look at the truth directly.
Yes. Yes.
So and there are so many other
Yes. True. True.
meanings, but sometimes maybe eagle for personally in that situation can also bring different abilities or
Hmm.
powers.
Hmm.
And we need to remember this, that those power animals actually representing our internal resources
Yes.
and it's our internal powers,
Hmm.
and they have archetypal meanings, but it has also our own symbolism.
Yes. Yes.
Like your jaguar was helping you through your spine and giving healing, but sometimes like I was quite surprised how the knowledge also overlapping, although you don't know it,
Hmm.
the knowledge is there, and it
Yes.
is universal. Like I was doing a lot of journeys last year when there were a lot of fires in
Yes.
Turkey, in
Yes. Yes.
France, and in
Hmm.
California.
Yes.
So we were doing healing every day, and in one of my journeys, I saw that whole the world as a chamber
Hmm.
and burning.
Hmm.
So I was in the dark chamber, and I said to myself, I need to help to the people at the fire. And my spiritual guide said to me, I didn't see anything, but intuitively I got it. Your job is not for the per people in the fire. They have their own process. You need to help to the people, which was around 20%, the dark chamber. And then they said to me, you have to look and help and search. Your role is in that darkness. I didn't get the meaning, but I got an oval at my shoulder, and oval told me I can see in the dark. And I said, then the oval was helping me, and from his eyes I was able to see the spirits, and they were blue spirits. At one of my first session, 2005, when I did a regression training with Jeff Ryan and Janet Cunningham from IBRT and World Regression Institute, I went to an Indian past life. I was a kind of young man, and my horse name was Blue Spirit. So 17 or 16 years after, I understood why I gave my horse in that past life the Blue Spirit name, because the spirits in the spiritual realm was kind of having blue color. And it's interesting that, you know, we want to heal the world, we want to spread the knowledge and etc. We want to do something, people sick in the world, economically has difficulties and etc. But I figure that there is already a help and different guidance system for those people, and for different how may I say it, for the one who are searching, asking questions, why I am living this, how can I do it differently, because in I saw that people in the fire are in the victim state, and they put the blame to the outside. You can blame the governments, you can blame blah blah, so many complot theories and etc. But or you blame the God and the spiritual world and the guidance and etc. But whenever some internal awakening coming up, then your questions are changing. Then you say, what is my role in here? Instead of you are projecting outside, the projection goes to the inside. Then they don't know what to do. In this time, then I know the way. Maybe the person will walk that pathway with their own legs, but I can accompany. And as Jung said, a therapist can bring a person as far as the therapist went in the past. So that means how far you go as therapist, you can bring your client.
True.
So if you go into the deepest moments and darknesses and etc., then the enlightenment comes from the darkness to the outside. That's why the shamans, they were fearless. They were really know how to go to the darkness as well. There are like white shamans and the dark shamans. Some shamans, they use the underground forces. And so it is also for the sake, like the poison of the snake. If you use it in a right amount,
it can be a medicine.
It can be a medicine, but if you use an exaggerated amount, it can be a poison.
True.
So we are living in a duality, and shamans knew it since the beginning, and they also has different time perspective. They say past and the present is exist in the moment, in the present.
Which is actually what duality and polarity of human life. It's
I
very
mentioned,
beautiful.
sorry, past and future is
Future,
actually in
yeah,
the present.
it's all in the present. So time itself, or the perspective of time, is it's just a perspective. Because right now is yesterday's future,
Yeah.
right? And this is the past of tomorrow.
And
And
also
this brings me to
shamans.
another question. Sorry, please carry on. Yeah.
I just mentioned the perspective of shamans, then I will
Yeah, yeah,
wrap it up.
yeah.
Because shamans also make the world, separate the world into the three realms. One is upper world, another middle world, and lower world.
Hmm.
We think that lower world is, dark and bad. Actually, it's representing our bodies below our heart.
Hmm.
The lower world is the place of the action,
Yeah, earth world,
and
very much so.
and upper world is, throat, third eye, and the
Crown.
crown chakra. So it is actually a place of the spiritual realms, teachers, gods and goddesses. So if you are ill, from a shamanic perspective, you ask what I need to do. So it's an action, it is the question of the lower world.
Mm.
But when you say that, why am I having this illness? What am I learning from this?
Mm.
Then the learnings and meanings are the questions of the upper world, which
Mm.
is also quite connected with the LBL sessions, what we do.
Yes, yes.
Searching for the meanings, asking helps from the spiritual guides.
Mm.
But I was quite impressed with the knowledge of Leo Rutherford and Juanita Pudifut when they were teaching us basic shamanic knowledge.
Mm.
They said, never convince, ask,
Yes.
question. You don't need to accept it, everything. It
Mm.
is kind of somebody is knocking your door.
Mm.
Then you said, who is it? And you are expecting your power animal, or you are expecting your spiritual guide. But
Mm.
when you are open the door, oh, it is so interested. And we know that there are different level of energies.
Mm.
So we need to also quite selective and be aware
Mm.
to what we are opening the door.
Mm.
So shamans, they kind of use which very simple checking. Ask 3 times, are you
Yeah.
my power animal? Are you my power animal? And are you my power animal? If
Mm.
the answer is one time no, just say thank you and bye bye. Or same
Yes.
for the spiritual guides. They said, are you my spiritual guide? Are you my spiritual guide? Are you my spiritual guide? If you feel something is not wrong, it's not really fitting, and if you have a hesitation, then maybe it is your power animal, but it's not the right time, or spiritual guide, but it's not the right time. And also, we need to be aware that we are always using our internal information or images or
Mm.
unconsciousness.
Mm.
So our brain creates a kind of maybe an image,
Mm.
but why creates in this form?
Mm.
Mostly skeptic people asking, am I making it up? Is it true? Is it the my brain is making a game to me or playing
Mm.
with me, or is it an illusion?
Mm.
I say, don't lose time or energy by asking, is it true or not? Just ask to yourself, why my unconsciousness bringing that
Yes.
information in this
Exactly.
way, and what is the message of my
Yes.
unconsciousness? So, of course, some people are more visual, some people more kinesthetic, some of
Mm.
people are more audio.
Mm.
Sometimes it happens like many people sees very clearly the power animals or spiritual guides, but
Mm.
some people hear them, the sound of
Yes.
the
Yes.
animal, Or some kinesthetic people, they don't see anything, but they sense. Sensation is also a different level of the information, and it is a quite, it comes intuitively. So shamanic work also teaching us how we can use our intuitions.
Yes.
Intention, intuition,
Intuition.
visualization. So this is also part of our job, part of our way to search, to find the meaning of life, to find the meaning of the all what's happening in the humanity, to search that why there were stages and development stages of the humanity, why the still the wars and everything happening, but from the other side humanity also goes to the a kind of different unity directions as well. I describe it as a kind of we are all in one ship, and the one that ship has a kind of captain in a spiritual realm. So in the ship, everybody, running back, going down, and some people in the machine unit, and there is a cold, they throw the fire, and there is a fire going on, uh, and but the ship of the humanity still going more to the spiritual evolution. And whenever the captain is fell to sleep, there is a kind of spiritual waking up systems, and like we name them shocks, and the life brings shocks. I think corona was kind of a shock to the humanity.
Globally, yeah, it was.
So sometimes we divorce, it's a shock. Sometimes an illness, a cancer can be a shock. Sometimes bankrupting can be a shock. Sometimes a loved one passed away, it's a shock. So, but do we need to always attract those shocks? If we are aware, then the shocks, they change kind of, how we say,
Because
rhythms
it,
and
yeah, because
resonance.
it becomes a source of learning that leads to a certain growth. So the soul somewhat attracts these kind of experiences to enable it to carry on this journey that it's choosing. Because you've come with a life script, you want to go through certain experiences, you want to evolve a particular way. So these experiences that are coming into our our daily life, our experiences that's in our environment that we are apparently attracting, we are doing it for our own growth.